yeah. Ball in my court, high step is a layup. My life like a movie, just keep moving, it's a trailer. Chefing in my kitchen, got me trying to get my cake up. I thank God for all this coming to me, not straight up. Ball in my court,
You live?
We recording.
Ash, we're back in the building. What's the vibes?
All-Star break, you know.
How we feeling? How we feeling about All-Star?
Big trash. Honestly, it was like I specifically watched every single event All-Star weekend. I mean, I watched a little bit of
You came prepared.
the celebrity game, but that was, I mean, that's always trash.
I didn't watch that.
That's just trash, bro. But yeah, it was. I mean, for me, it just wasn't exciting. Like, I didn't get much out of it. I think I think the consensus is the best part of All-Star Weekend was Steph versus Sabrina.
Agreed.
Ironically, that had nothing to do with the NBA. That was their own doing. Sabrina reached out to Steph and challenged him. They brought it to the NBA. The NBA thought it was a great idea. And
It's like pitching a movie.
And, they sold it. And honestly, it delivered.
Yeah.
You know? And the crazy thing is that, I don't think people are giving Sabrina enough credit about this. First of all, she set it up. She challenged him, right? She had by far the most to lose, by far, right? She's representing the WNBA because if she beats Steph, it's a success, and they're going to do it forever. You know, they're probably going to bring it back every single year.
Mm-hmm.
If Steph gets 29, she gets like 6. She plays awful. They'll never do it.
She's too good of a shooter for that to happen.
I understand, but she's a good shooter, but at the end of the day, this is pressure. Like she's never faced before.
Right.
She could go on, she ends up getting 10, and Steph gets 29
That's what you're
or
saying.
12. You know they're never doing that shit again. You know what I mean?
Fair.
And now this is a great event that, I think I'm looking forward to next year. You know, potentially they add Caitlin Clark, or maybe they add another shooter or whatever. You know, see how they fare. You know, that was fun. I think it was dope, and I love how Steph came in and competed, because I feel like
hell yeah,
he's somebody else Ant-Man might just shot lefty.
He did that in the skills challenge.
He might have just shot lefty. He might have tried to kick the ball in.
Yeah,
you know. So I respect competition, man. And Steph came in and bro, she shot from NBA 3.
Definitely.
And she had the most out of anyone that was in the actual 3-point contest.
True.
Gotta give her credit. Off of cold. First attempt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, Dame came up big. He made that last one. He almost missed all 5 of them, but he came up big. But look, man, I see everybody roasting the All-Star game. Obviously, I was in the building, and I really enjoyed it, man. I thought it was fun. It was fun for me.
What was fun about it?
Tyrese hitting all those threes in a row was fun. Dame going off was fun for me. Watching SGA was fun for me. Watching Bam throw it off Jokic, then hit the 3, then watch Jokic complain to the refs was fun. But, I mean, obviously part of it was because I was in the building. I didn't get the TV experience of it. But just to me, I like watching players and breaking down their skills and their athleticism and how they move and how they play. And these are the best players in the world, you know? And I kind of enjoyed it. I had fun. Look, I didn't come into it thinking that they were going to be playing extra competitively, if that's the right phrase. I knew this is what it would be. I came with these expectations. And, yeah, I mean, Dame was the MVP, and they gave it to him. I thought it was fun, man.
All right, stop the cap, bro. The real reason you liked it is because you don't play defense and you don't like defense.
Fair.
That's what it comes down
Fair.
to. Defense is not even part of the game to you.
Maybe that's fair.
That's what it comes. I mean, and I get it, you know. But for me, there's nothing more exciting than somebody really trying to lock someone up and somebody scoring through that.
Yeah, I like that.
That's the pinnacle of competition, you know? And I think there's in an ideal world, an idealistic world, you get the top 24 players in the NBA playing, you want it to be the most competitive game ever. You want that, you know? And unfortunately, we're not getting that. And I don't know if we'll ever get that, you know? Like, as, you know, the number one topic after the All-Star game is, how do we fix it?
True. How do you think we fix it?
So I don't know. Like, okay, so I have ideas, right? And there's some logistical things that could potentially fix it or whatever, right? But I don't even know if that's actually going to be a fix. Like, often, you know, you hear about All-Star Weekend as this marketing bonanza, right? The NBA uses it as this real huge marketing ploy, right? And it's a whole week, essentially. It's like Wednesday through Sunday. And it's party after event, after signing, after corporate schmoozing, all this stuff. The players are obligated to do all that. And then they're going out to drinking, doing whatever. And then they got this game at the end of it on Sunday when they're exhausted. Nobody wants to go hard. You know what I mean? Everybody's mentally checked out by then. You know what I mean? Sundays, so I don't know how they can schedule it where, you know, you don't get people at the end of a vacation.
What, you want noon game on Thursday?
I don't even know if that works. I don't even know if Sunday works. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. That's one logistical thing. I don't even know if that fixes it. But I know that that's something that players have lamented about. They've complained that it's like, it's late, it's on the Sunday after we've gone out, done all this stuff. So that could be one reason why people ain't really going hard, right? Now, when it comes down to the actual game, right? Like, someone has to set the tone, right? That's the only way the game can be competitive, right? If, like, somebody came in and really tried to do something, try to embarrass somebody in the game, like really went hard to try to stop. Like, if like, let's say who was going at it?
Cat was going hard.
Cat was going hard, right? Yeah. Let's say, did Bam play?
Bam played. He threw it off Jokic, remember?
So let's say Bam came in and was like, I'm shutting this shit down. Cat's ass. I don't want Cat to win the MVP. I'm going to shut this shit down, right? That starts to set the
domino effect.
You know what I mean? So the problem is that we don't have enough players that are willing to set the tone, right? That's one thing. I think the way the game has changed, it is so offensive minded.
Do you think that's the responsibility of, like, the older guys like KD, Steph, LeBron?
No, I don't. You know, I think the game has changed so much where it's so offensive minded. So the players who make the All-Star team are offensive players. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, you had Ben Wallace's, Dikembe Mutombo's.
Bam's a good defender, though.
But primarily
Kawhi's two-way guy.
I understand, but primary defensive players. You know what I mean? The Ben Wallace's.
That's still an anomaly. Like, you can't find two. You can't, even back then. You can't find too many.
But like Dikembe Mutombo, like, so the greatest All-Star game of all time. Which one was it? 2000.
The thing is that defensive players now also are offensively skilled.
I get it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, you just don't, like, the game has changed so much, so those guys aren't in the game anymore. When a defensive-minded player, that's what he does, comes in the game, he's not trying to put up 30. He's trying to shut people down. So the best All-Star game ever, right? People consider this consensus best All-Star game, I think it's 2001. It's the one when Stephon Marbury hit those 2 threes at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. Allen Iverson came back, right? The West was up by, I think, 19 that game, right? It was looking like a blowout. The only reason they even won that game was because Dikembe Mutombo came in and changed the whole game. Literally started playing defense. Allen Iverson started cooking, and Dikembe Mutombo set the tone. Now, I'm not saying that you have to get defensive players in the game, right? But I'm saying defensive players, that's their only stake, is to try to play defense. So the fact that there's no defensive players in the game, they're not the ones that are going to set the tone.
My thing is, there are defensive players in the game. They could just play offense now too. Like Chet Holmgren. He's a defensive player, but
he's there though.
100%. But he's super skilled. Bam.
I
Defensive player.
I
Kawhi.
understand it.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys that were in the All-Star game were good defensive players. But when
Exactly.
your mindset is only defense, that's
Who's
what
like
you're
that
gonna
now,
do.
though? Who is like that now?
There's a decent amount of players in the league that are like that, but that probably wouldn't make the All-Star team. Like if someone, let's say, what's his name? Dylan Brooks made the All-Star team. You think he's going to try and shut people down? He takes pride.
Is it fair to say that's one reason why we could say the NBA is better now? Like the best defensive players now are also great on offense.
I agree.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that is in my mind, that's one of the reasons why I think, when you're good at both, you for the most part, you prioritize offense. And that's the game right now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
in an All-Star game, you're gonna go in and just try to get your shots up. But when you only are good at defense, when you only hang your hat on defense,
Rudy's been in All-Star games. He didn't really change the All-Star game, right? He's a defensive-minded player.
they don't play him.
He doesn't play well in All-Star games.
They don't
But you think that Kemba got massive amounts of minutes in those All-Star games?
He did in the game, the 2001 game when they
Or in
came
just
back.
in those moments?
Well, they were up by 19, so they're like, put the Kemba in. And Kemba came in blocking shots. You know what I mean? It changed the whole tone. Then AI came in cooking. Next thing you know, they came back.
Maybe if Pat Bev was in the All-Star
I'm
game.
saying Pat Bev, Dylan Brooks, Marcus Smart.
So
I'm
maybe
not
they
saying that these guys should be in the All-Star game. That is not what I'm saying.
I understand.
I'm
I
saying
understand what
that
you're saying.
these guys, like, that is their thing. So they're going to try to shut someone down, And, like, dog, there was no resistance. Like, dog, I get it. An incredible.
Don't you feel it's more of a
offense.
celebration than an actual competition?
Yeah, I like it. So I also think that the way the All-Star game is presented,
First of all,
it allows it to be more celebratory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I used to have a studio, right? And a film studio, right? And I often had creative events in my studio, right? But often, us people, black people, when we have a creative event, we got a DJ, we got, people coming in, drinking, it's a celebratory vibe. So even though we try to make it professional, it turns into a party all the time because the ambiance is more celebratory, So I don't know if there's any way the NBA can present the game in a more serious way, because if you have all these events and parties and whatnot, like, of course you're going to take the game like that as well too. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
So I don't know. I mean, I really don't know how to fix it, but like the NBA has, what they've done with the dunk contest is they've brought outside competition, right? It hasn't helped, right, yet, but one thing you can see is that outside competition takes it way more seriously. The D-League players taking the dunk contest far more seriously.
Yeah, Mac is just a professional dunker at this point.
I mean, even I think Jacob Toppin took it pretty seriously. I think he just got snubbed. I mean, he got they gave him bad scores. You know what I mean? Like I think his dunks were better than Jaylen Brown's.
Right.
But
right.
But he took it seriously. Like that's all he's got. Similar to like the defensive players, that's all they have in the All-Star game. You know what I mean? To play defense if you can't play offense. So I don't know if the NBA is going to implore something different. Like the thing about it is like Kobe said that people take pickup ball at UCLA way more seriously than they take the All-Star game. You can't have one narrative where you're like, well, I'm not trying to get hurt, but you go hard in the offseason because you could potentially get hurt there too.
Yeah, but you're preparing for your season. That's their goal in mind. That's like their process for getting ready for the NBA season. At that point, it's a different moment in time for them.
So here's the thing: like, what chances do you have to get hurt?
I don't think that's the reason.
Like people,
no,
but that's what's his name just said that. Was it who's Jaylen Brown just said that? You know what I mean?
Playing basketball, you always have a chance to get hurt.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So but that is often the excuse that people use. Like, you don't want somebody to get hurt. Like, we're lucky that everybody's going back to their team.
Here's the thing, though. You don't have a high chance of getting hurt any higher than any other time. But if you do get hurt in that situation, it just looks bad for everybody.
I agree, but at
You know?
the same time, it's like you probably have a much higher chance of getting hurt playing with non-NBA players at UCLA.
Oh no, but
Hines.
most of those guys are NBA guys or high level overseas guys anyway.
It doesn't matter. Like you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
you know, you also have a ton of dudes that are like, I'm not in the league, but I'm about to show you why. You know what I mean? Like that is a chance to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like so I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think the bigger issue, right, beyond the game is like this is the byproduct of player empowerment. You know what I mean? Like I think player empowerment is great. I think it's amazing. You know, I think it was ushered in by LeBron James. He's changed how people look at their brand, right? But the problem is when you focus on your brand, you become more individual. Like I think the NBA in the past was such a shield, like a brotherhood, you know what I mean? And I think people did care about the product of the NBA beyond just what is self-serving, right? People cared about, entertaining the fans. I don't think these players these days don't care as much, you know? They're just like I got to focus on me. And on top of it, I think that social media has changed the way you interact with fans. You start to look at fans like people, whatever I do, they're going to talk shit about me on social media anyways. Like we should be commending Jaylen Brown for even being in the dunk contest, no matter how bad he did.
The interesting thing about that is he was going back at the fans saying that he has no left hand.
And
You
that
know what
dunk,
I mean?
I think not a lot of people got that dunk.
It all ties into what you're saying.
Absolutely,
though.
So, but he's getting killed. I mean, granted, those dunks was.
You seen they showed some of his practice dunks that were way better. I think he posted it on his stories.
Oh, really?
Where like in it, he does it at the right time. You know, in the All-Star game, he was like he dunked it and then he was like,
yeah, that shit's crazy.
Yo, so through the process of our podcast, we've kind of learned like what gains traction and what doesn't. Through the process of our podcast, we've kind of learned that what gains traction and what doesn't, and it's kind of interesting. Like in-depth analysis definitely doesn't do as good as like us yelling at each other. And JJ had an interesting quote. I could do a video on my podcast where I break down the last 9 games the Pelicans have used Zion Williamson as the primary ball handler. 54,000 views on YouTube. But I want to call out a coach yesterday. Oh, that gets tens of millions of engagements. That's the ecosystem we live in. So do fans actually want to be educated or not?
No,
Yeah, they don't.
we don't.
They
I
don't.
mean, I do. Like, I love the game. I played it though. Like, it's
almost
so
but
different. You know
let
what I
me
mean?
tell you. Let me ask you this. It's almost like a niche following that wants that.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the NBA is trying to make as much money as they possibly can, so they have branded themselves, in a way where they can collect a significant amount of casual fans, right? Right? It's popular, right? So if you get casual fans, a casual fan just wants to be entertained for a little bit. They don't even watch the games intricately. They don't know the nuances of the game. So when you they don't care about you breaking down, how many pick and rolls Zion and CJ McCollum did. Like nobody, like not a lot of people care about that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't even think there's a lot of really, really like devoted fans that don't care about that shit anymore. We are too spread thin as a society in terms of how much media we are absorbing these days.
People just don't want to think at the end of the day. Like us talking about the most basic things like this person's better than this person is like what people really love, and us screaming into a mic and yelling at each other goes way farther than us breaking down the game.
Absolutely. I mean, like at the end of the day, man, like I fuck with some of the stuff that JJ does, but like I said, we're all spread so thin. You know what I mean? Like you having to break that down, JJ, is going to be a 25, 30-minute video. Who the fuck has 25, 30 minutes to kill on YouTube? You know what I mean? Like a lot of people just don't. So like.
Also, what's interesting to JJ might not be interesting to a general person in this country.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day too, like.
You have to get the people what they want.
You think about this. You go on YouTube, right? And there's 1 million boxes in front of your face. I don't know. Maybe there's 50, 60 boxes in front of your face of which video to push, right? One says JJ Redick breaking down the nuances of the pick and rolls between Zion and CJ McCollum.
One says JJ Redick versus Austin Rivers.
And one
like I did yesterday.
One says JJ Redick calls out Doc Rivers.
Facts.
Like, dog, which one are people picking? You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this. As a creator, if you actually do want to break down basketball, give in-depth analysis, and then you do take that route of captions like that, do you consider that selling out?
No, I mean, like, this is the thing about it is, like, I've been talking to a lot of people, content creators, and you have to do a bit of both. Like JJ probably got way more views on that breaking down video after he yelled about Doc. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get people in the door. You know what I mean? So, like, if you find success with one video, it trickles down to all of your other videos as well, too. So you have to have that combination of both, unless you want to be super niche. But if you want to be super niche, you have to be prepared for having a niche audience, which is limited.
Yeah. Everybody looks at clickbait as bad, but if you're using clickbait to bring in people to something that's good and something that can inform them, you know, like captions and thumbnails that are catchy, but the product that you're giving out is good, there's nothing wrong with clickbait. There's nothing wrong with catchy thumbnails. There's nothing wrong with catchy captions.
Yeah, I mean, it's the world we live in right now. So, like, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I don't even know if JJ is really upset about it or if it's all part of his own marketing plan as well, too. Because I did not know anything about that video that he was talking about when he was breaking down.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that either.
I didn't know anything about that until he yelled at Doc.
Yeah.
You know, and then Austin came back at him. Man, there's a lot of beef. NBA beef is going crazy right now.
Is it?
Yeah, George Karl, Carmelo.
Bro, he said, first of all, according to Carmelo, which, you know, I believe Carmelo seems like a solid guy. He said that the first conversation they had with George Karl as their head coach, he told him, you're overrated. He told him, I see you more like a Detlef Schrempf. And Detlef was nice, but come on. Like, that's a little disrespectful.
I mean, I definitely believe. I mean, you've heard so many horror stories about George Karl.
Yeah,
George Karl was an awful person. Apparently, just like a terrible coach. Just didn't connect with players well. But he played in an era in the NBA where you could do that. You know what I mean? You can't do that shit no more. And I think that, like, people have a voice, and you know, all these podcasts, all these stories are coming out. Crazies. I just heard the freaking Latrell Sprewell, PJ Carmichael story.
Tell me more.
Oh my God.
I mean, I know what happened, but tell me more.
Like the details of it. So Brian Shaw broke down the details.
Okay.
He said, similar to George Karl, like, he's like, PJ Carlissimo, great guy. He's like a super nice guy. He's the type of person, he, you know, take the shirt off his chest and give it to you. Off the court. On the court, he called everybody motherfucker. He was tyrant. He was an asshole. You know, that's just how he coached. And he also brought that from college, because in college you could do that to kids, whatever, but in NBA is different. So right off rip, he was talking like that to Sprewell, and he didn't like Sprewell. He didn't like Sprewell's braids in his hair. So I thought that was unprofessional. He didn't like, and they had a dress code at the time. He said he's like, Sprewell used to just rock sweats all the time, right? Didn't care, came to the games in sweats and slides.
Right.
So he goes, yo, I told you about this dress code. And Latrell took off his headphones and goes, my agent already told me for every game that I miss or whatever is a $500. Every game that I my dress code is off, it's a $500 fine. Charge me $20,000, whatever it is, right? Put it on my tab and leave me the fuck alone.
How do you get from 500 to 20,000 though?
41 games.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's like, just charge me that and leave me the fuck alone, right? So then they were going back and forth one practice, and he came at him, and he said they were shooting free throws or something like that, and like, I don't know, maybe Latrell wasn't going hard or whatever, but he's like, yo, I need more effort from you. You're dogging it. You're always dogging it. This is what PJ said to him. He goes, yo, you say that shit to me again, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. Came back 5 minutes later, said the same shit. and he just hemmed him up. He just grabbed his neck and started choking him as hard as he possibly could. He's like, all the players came, tried to get him. He was kicking players off of him. He was trying to kill this man. And then they had to call security. And then, like, I mean, back then, they kept shit in-house. So he said that the next day, the GM came in, was like, oh, we're going to keep this in-house. Or the assistant coach came in or something like that and said, we're going to keep this in-house. They brought all the veterans, was like, what do you think we should give him? And they said, we'll give him a 10-game suspension and a fine or whatever, right? So that's what they thought it was. Thought it was going to be in-house, 10-game suspension. He's like, Brian Shaw said by the time he got home, shit was all over ESPN. Somebody leaked it. And then, you know, then next thing you know, they suspended him the rest of the year. He had to make that press conference. And he's like, you know, we when PJ was getting choked out, you know, we didn't condone what he was doing, but the way PJ had been talking to them, all the players on the team were like, man, I ain't gonna do nothing. He deserves that shit. You know what I mean? And then after that, so they supported Sprewell during his press conference. It's like Brian Shaw, it was like Felton Spencer, a whole bunch of players, right? Next thing you know, 2 weeks later, they traded all those dudes or waived them.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was crazy.
Speaking of beef, the No Bull Tour coming to a city near you.
First of all, why do they call it No Bull? Aren't there a pair of workout shoes called No Bull already?
Bro, when I saw this, I'm like, after a week after this tour, nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care. Like, they're kind of like the greatest documentary ever, probably The Last Dance, right? Up there. Got to be up there.
Sports documentary, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically cloud chasing. Like, this tour never happens if it wasn't for The Last Dance, right?
Absolutely.
Like, this is a spinoff. At the end of the day, the impact that The Last Dance had will have more impact than any documentary ever. And this tour, nobody will care. With all due respect, like Scottie Pippen, Hall of Famer. You know, Horace Grant, great player, all-star 1 year. Like, what he did with the Orlando Magic was underrated. Luke Longley, solid big. But, like, why?
I mean, so they all felt like Michael Jordan was an asshole. We all know Michael Jordan was an asshole.
Wasn't that portrayed in the doc?
It was portrayed in the doc, right?
Yeah.
But they felt like the documentary put him on a pedestal and kind of like threw Scotty under the bus, threw some of the teammates under the bus. Like, I mean, in the documentary, they called Horace Grant dumb. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't remember what shrapnel went to Luke Longley. I don't remember that at all. But Horace Grant came off as a dumb person. Scottie Pippen came off as a selfish person.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand their perspective. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are you getting from this? Like, what can you get from this tour? Like, if it's money,
cool.
Okay, go get your money. You know what I mean? But like I just Scottie Pippen, I've never seen anyone at that stature just lose so much like reverence. We've lost so much reverence for who Scottie Pippen is as a person, you know? And I think that's the byproduct of like the way media is now. Like,
well, it's also some of the decisions he's made.
But the thing about a lot of these decisions are glorified by the way we consume media.
True.
You know what I mean? Like if he had done this shit behind closed doors, nobody knows this stuff. You know what I mean? But he's like constantly in the news, like talking, saying this stuff, vlogging, posting these vlogs. You know what I mean? Like, Karl Malone's a fucked up person, and he's done some fucked up shit. But we don't see that motherfucker, so we forget about that shit. You know what I mean? John Stockton says some fucked up shit all the time. He's like a conservative person that is like basically like quasi QAnon dude. But he don't talk. He don't have a social media. Nobody hears none of that shit. You know what I mean? But like when he does talk, he says some wild shit. Like he talks about the presidency like a QAnon person. Like they're they got pedophiles in the White House. Like, he's been on record saying this shit. He's a wild dude. So, like, Scottie Pippen is just he needs to get a PR person. Shut that shit down. That's what it comes down to.
Do you don't think it's too late for that?
I feel like if he just quiets it down right now and just like kind of just fades into the darkness, like people will forget. Because like right now, the way we consume media is like something's hot today. Next thing you know, you forget it.
Yeah.
It's like, people gonna forget about you, bro. Like, what are you trying to get?
That's what's going to happen with this tour. They're going to forget about it after a week, maybe less.
Like,
but it's funny because
you love Michael Jordan. That's the thing. Yo, he loves Michael Jordan. I don't understand what he's doing. Bro, you love that dude, man. You loved him after bro, does Scottie Pippen remember when he did this? You remember that?
Of course. Jordan 10s.
Yeah.
Of course.
Come on, man. You needed that dude. You loved, if he bullied you that much, you would have not done that to the camera. Asked him back.
Yeah, I mean, all relationships have some kind of nuance to it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, so
it was probably love-hate.
So I get it.
It was probably love-hate that turned sour now.
I understand, but what is this doing? Like, what are you getting out of this? Like, if you already know he's a fucked up person, you needed him to win, cool. It's over. The careers are over now.
They needed each other at the end of the day. Jordan don't win 6 without Scottie.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, it doesn't win 6 without Scottie, but I think Jordan wins without
Yeah,
Scottie.
Jordan wins.
And I don't think Scottie
What
wins
if
without
LeBron had
Jordan.
Scottie?
If LeBron has Scottie?
He probably has 7.
No. LeBron did have Scottie.
They actually had that meme up today.
He's got someone better than Scottie. His name is Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis better than Scottie Pippen, you think? Who's better, D-Wade or Scottie? That's a good one. That's close. The reason why you could edge, I think Scottie's better, but the reason why you could edge D-Wade is because he won a championship as the best player on the team.
You got to give it to Scottie, I think. I think it's just so hard because, like, one thing I wanted to mention, right, is like how good we think someone is all based off of perception and expectations, right? Because it's like I listen to all these podcasts, right? And, they talk about this player's awesome and this player's bad. But the bad player is better than the awesome player.
According to you?
No, according to whatever. It's just that we expect more from the bad player and we expect less from the good player, right? So I was listening to it wasn't Windhorse. It was Zach Lowe, and they were talking about like Jalen Williams, how awesome he is, right?
Yeah.
And then they were talking about like how not great Trae Young is. Trae Young is a better player than Jalen Williams. Like Jalen Williams may be better, but Trae Young is better than Jalen Williams.
Right now, yeah.
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 But it's like we expect more from Trae Young, right?
Yeah. I mean, Jalen was a second-year player, so that's a tough comp anyway.
But okay, but they do that with a lot of other people.
Gotcha.
If you don't expect this guy to be that good, if this is his role, you go, oh, he's great at that. But someone else who you expect more from, like people like AD and let's say AD and like Bam, they always talk about how awesome Bam is. AD is better than Bam, but we expect so much more from AD, so we constantly criticize what AD is.
I understand what you're saying.
Big up Bam all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but you got to grade people on their curve, right? Like you don't grade Pat Beverly like you grade Dame Lillard, like as a player, Like they have different expectations, obviously.
But I understand, but it's the language though, and the language that is used often.
Like Grace, like
build a narrative
like
about somebody.
like Grayson Allen's having a great season and Dame is having a not so great season, but Dame is obviously way better than Grayson Allen.
I understand, but when
Yeah.
you start using these like the problem is that so many of us are casual fans and so many of us consume information in such short bites. So when people start to say this person's awesome, it elevates these people in a specific way.
But nobody thinks Jalen Williams is better than Trae Young.
I understand, but their brand gets knocked. You know what I mean? Like Trae Young's brand is knocked.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Like think about it. Like, I mean, I understand that, but at the end of the day, whatever this narrative about Trae Young being bad, it is affecting him from getting in the All-Star game, picked in the All-Star game. You know what I mean? He ended up getting in, but after Randall and Joel Embiid, someone else couldn't play.
Right.
You know, so our words mean a lot. Like the way media, I think the people can't listen to a JJ nuanced.
They hear you talk about James Harden, and they think James Harden's not good because Ash talks crazy about him.
I'm saying, but that's how we consume stuff. We consume stuff so short that it's like we take a little bit of this and it turns into a narrative. Then people start talking about this person's great, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it was like that with Pascal Siakam. Oh my God, Pascal Siakam's so amazing, blah, blah, his early on years. And then he kind of plateaued and we're like, oh, Pascal Siakam's not that good.
Yeah. Even
though Pascal Siakam's still really good. You know? It's what we expected from him. We thought Pascal was going to be the next people were talking about him like he was going to be the next KG.
Yeah.
You know? So it's all, so much of it is based off of expectations, man. And narratives, because there's so much talk about sports, you know? It sucks. It's hard, man. I get it. I mean, I'm grateful for the NBA, but man, it's tough to be a player, man, these days, man. It is tough.
Speaking of expectations, let's finish with this. I actually like the Spencer move in LA, and I'll tell you why. I like the idea of D'Lo, Austin Reeves, and Spence with AD and LeBron, because that just screams modern basketball to me. How much do you feel like Spence getting on the Lakers moves the needle?
Nothing. I mean, I think I it helps, but not much. I think the Lakers,
they've been better.
But at the same time, I just think that I think they're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna be a pesky team. I just don't think they don't have enough offense.
So you believe more in the Warriors?
Yes. Even though I think the Lakers are better now, I believe more in the Warriors because if their pieces start to click, I think the Lakers just don't have enough. Right? Even if they play well, they don't have enough.
Matters how good D'Lo is. If D'Lo could play like he's been playing, he's tough. He's playing at all-star level those past 15 games, 18 games.
I still don't think they have enough. Where I think that the Warriors have enough, they just are playing awful. So I think that
they're starting to play better. Wiggins started to play better.
Yeah. So I think the Warriors have a legit chance if Wiggins starts playing well. Kuminga's been playing well.
Yeah.
Brandon Podziemski's playing well.
He started now.
You know, I mean, he's been starting for some time. Clay is getting a little.
He showed a flash off the bench, 35.
Yeah. So he's getting a hit or miss. He's getting a little bit better. So they have the pieces to still be very good. I mean, they were just there last year. So, but I don't know if mentally they're there because, it's you got 30 games left to try to get some sort of the problem is too, if they all start playing well, shit is fucked up. Clay's not starting. Brandon Podziemski's starting, and he's playing well. If Clay starts playing well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna just and let's say the team starts playing well and Clay's playing really well off the bench. You can leave him on the bench. They have too many decisions to make. So I don't know how well things are gonna kind of manifest for them, even if they start playing well.
It's fragmented.
Absolutely. Yeah. So but I don't think either one of them are gonna do anything. Lakers or
you think Denver's coming out the West? Because I do. Me personally. That guy Jokic is different.
Yeah, I think Denver's coming out the West.
I can't wait to see SJ in the playoffs.
Because I think that I don't think there's anyone. Yeah, I think Denver's coming out the West. I think the only person that can compete with Jokic Yeah, I don't think anyone can compete with Jokic. There's just no bigs that can compete with Jokic. That's the problem. Even the teams that are really good.
Minnesota, 2 bigs.
Who, Cat?
I mean, Cat, Naz Reid, and Rudy. You throwing people. You know what? Naz Reid is an interesting guy on offense to go against because he could draw Jokic out.
Yeah,
And then Cat does that too. You know what's interesting? I actually think a team that's totally opposite.
Rudy Gobert gets killed by.
I think a team that plays totally different than the Nuggets has a better chance that plays somewhat like the Nuggets. Like, let me explain. Like, the Kings have no chance against the Nuggets because they're a similar style team that just aren't as good. But like the Suns, even though I haven't been high on the Suns all year, but at least they're different. Like, they could go with that fake death lineup where KD's dragging Jokic out, even though they'll have nothing against Jokic in that lineup. Like, I think you need a team like styles make fights.
Yeah.
You need a team that could be better than Denver, but in a different way. Like, teams that are similar to them are never going to have no chance against them.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I mean, Phoenix has no chance. Phoenix can't figure out.
They've been better though.
They can't figure out. Like, their plan was to have the most offensive.
I never liked the
firepower.
I never liked the idea of it.
Right, that was their
some
plan.
good pickups lately though.
They can't all play well. Like, they haven't had.
They've been better lately.
Yeah, but they haven't had a game where they
And
all
Brad's out again though.
Yeah, they haven't had a game where they've all cooked. Because like that was their plan. Their plan was like, all right, fuck defense. We're gonna have 3 dudes cook. They don't cook. It's like if Devin goes off, then KD and Bradley they combine for 28 points. You know what I mean? It's like they have to figure out a way for them all to fire on cylinders, and you can't do that because they all kind of are ISO shooters.
Bro, I've said that from the beginning.
I don't think they have a chance at all.
It's a redundancy and skill set with their top 3 guys.
It's not even skill set. It's the way they play. You know what I mean? The redundancy.
Yeah.
In the like.
They like to get in the mid range. They're ISO scorers. Yeah.
So
tough twos.
Yeah, it's just I don't even understand why.
I mean,
like
a guy.
I think it's because of what's his name, Ishbia. Ishbia is making those decisions, bro.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the reason they're playing a certain way. You mean like the construction of the team?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's spending a ton of money. He's making like he's an ex-college player. He knows a lot about basketball. Like, he's injecting himself into some of the basketball decisions, and he's like, oh, let's get this dude.
He thinks it's 2K. You're saying?
Exactly.
Okay. Let's end it there. Let's end it on 2K. We have a milestone episode next episode. We'll get more into that.
Okay.
You don't even realize what number we're on, man. You don't even realize.
You stop counting.
No, we don't. We count.
I mean, you stop counting. You used to say it on camera.
Okay, we're definitely going to say next episode what episode we're on. But good stuff, Ash. Don't forget to punch down on that subscribe button, even though Ash doesn't like me using the word punch. He's a very non-violent person. He's a man of peace.
That's right, man.
So just push it lightly, that subscribe button. We'll talk to you later. We're out.